Hello, my name is Alexandria Cobb, and today we will be discussing the unsung heroes of California's wildfire management, incarcerated firefighters. While rarely in the media spotlight, these men and women have proven themselves to be essential respondents to California's wildfire problem. California's wildfire management system relies on the use of cheap prison labor to perform highly valuable and life-saving community work. In this video, we will explore the history, drivers, and politics of this form of fire management and methods that may contribute to a more just system of wildfire management. This presentation will be conducted as follows. First, we will examine the dramatic increase in California's wildfires in recent years and the factors that have fueled these intense fires. Next, we will look over the history of inmate fire camps, as well as the factors that motivate and deter inmates from participating in wildfire work assignments. Finally, we will consider the social stereotypes and stigmas that affect incarcerated firefighters both in and out of prison, including their job prospects after their release. Let's first start by discussing California's recent increase in wildfires, as well as the factors that contribute to these intense blazes. In recent years, California wildfires have been the topic of intense media coverage as the total number of fires and overall acres burned have increased dramatically, as can be seen on this graph. Between 2017 and 2022, there has been a yearly average of 8,607 fires, which burns an equivalent average of 2 Rhode Islands worth of forest per year. Comparing this rate to previous 5-year averages reveals an increase in total fires of more than 20% and a 183% increase in acres burned. This shows that not only has there been a significant uptick in the number of wildfires, but these fires are burning much larger swaths of forest land than the previous 5-year average. Global climate change indeed plays an important role in increasing numbers, but there are a multitude of additional factors that also contribute. In the U.S., Smokey Bear, the iconic mascot of the U.S. Forestry Service wildfire campaigns, and his slogan that only you can prevent wildfires are very well known. While it is true that human negligence contributes to wildfires, there are larger environmental and governmental systems that also contribute. Contrary to the common perception that burning is bad, research reveals that intermittent and controlled fires often serve a beneficial role in the long-term health and safety of a forest. Controlled fires are closely monitored fires that are performed on a specific area through premeditated tree breaks that prevent fires from jumping and becoming wild and uncontrollable. Controlled fires clear forest debris while also opening the forest canopy, which allows flora to benefit from greater sunlight exposure. The ash from fire also adds nutrients to the soil, which allows the forest to grow stronger. In fact, many forest biomes, especially California's redwood forests, have developed evolutionary techniques that actually have come to rely on sporadic fire in order to survive. Many trees have developed fire-resistant bark that prevents low-temperature fires from harming them, while also melting wax-coated seeds and allowing them to sprout. While there are many benefits to allowing small, controllable forest fire, California has historically sought to prevent all forest fires. However, this prevention strategy allows forest underbrush to become overgrown. Underbrush overgrowth creates higher levels of biofuel that leads to hotter, more intense blazes that cannot be combated by trees' evolutionary fire-resistant bark. As a result, the state is often forced into reactionary measures, deploying firefighters to combat uncontrollable blazes as they happen. This positive feedback loop is then exacerbated by factors such as climate change, severe drought, unfavorable wind conditions, and the urban-wildland interface, which allows humans to push forest borders inwards for residential and urban development. So who are the men and women who risk their lives to control these unruly blazes? As California's wildfires have reached unprecedented levels, the state has turned to inmate fire crews who provide cheap labor and fight fires alongside free firefighters. While incarcerated firefighters have not become a well-represented topic in the mainstream media, Lieutenant Keith Ratty, the commander of a female inmate fire camp, reports that 50 to 80% of California's total fire personnel is made up of incarcerated firefighters. This staggering statistic did not happen overnight, but is instead a result of the conservation camp program, which began in 1915. Initially, these camps focused on road and highway construction, but were turned into fire camp training sites when World War II efforts caused fire crew shortages. Prisoners were seen as an untapped workforce that could be compensated with reduced sentencing and poor wages, so they were the ideal laborers for a country experiencing economic depression. While incarcerated firefighters were originally trained to supplement domestic safety efforts during World War II, California's expansion of the fire camp program has resulted in a strong state reliance on prison labor that deserves investigation. Currently, California continues to supplement fire labor shortages via fire camp training, and now boasts 35 fire camps with approximately 1,600 inmate fire crew members. While the original fire camp program was intended to boost firefighter shortages during World War II efforts, the government quickly realized that these camps provided cheap labor. Incarcerated firefighters were and are trained by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. This government organization also trains free firefighters, so the two groups are performing the same labor for vastly different prices. In order to qualify as an incarcerated firefighter, prisons must have minimum custody status or the lowest classification for inmates based on their sustained good behavior in prison. They're conforming to rules within the prison and participation rehabilitation programs. Supporting nonviolent offenders and advertising the fire camp program as a rehabilitation program allows the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to justify its use of prison labor while also commending community safety efforts. Additionally, the California state government is able to justify its use of prison labor by supposedly reducing the cost of fire management. Researchers like Paul Goodman and Anna Doty point out that these workers are paid $2 per hour when directly fighting fire and $2 per day when performing grade work. This meager pay, alongside the fact that incarcerated firefighters do not receive the same health assurance and labor benefits as free and unionized firefighters, keeps the state's disaster management funding to a minimum. Despite the fact that state spending on wildfire prevention and management has grown significantly in the last 10 years, incarcerated firefighters have not received additional or livable wages. Now that we understand why California utilizes incarcerated firefighters as well as how they justify this usage, we will move on to the reasons that motivate and deter inmates from participating in the fire camp program. Despite the poor wages, there are incentives that recruit nonviolent prisoners to California's fire camps. One is the opportunity for a reduced sentence. But in the short term, fire camps offer an escape from prison life. Inmates enjoy freedom of movement, better quality food, and these inmates often describe valuable camaraderie with their fellow firefighters that has been shown to decrease the rate of violence between inmates. Furthermore, many incarcerated firefighters feel an immense sense of pride in their work as they are able to help their community while also building skills that cultivate a strong sense of belonging and self-improvement. Despite the fact that their uniforms are differentiated from free firefighters through the use of orange suits, communities affected by wildfire often express gratitude to all fire personnel. Despite the incentives for nonviolent offenders to join California's fire camps, there are many drawbacks to this work. Incarcerated firefighters must consider short-term health risks such as burns, broken bones from falling trees, and persistent coughs. The work also poses long-term health risks like cancer and emphysema from smoke inhalation. While unionized firefighters are granted lifetime health insurance that cannot be excluded on the basis of pre-existing conditions such as smoke inhalation, incarcerated firefighters are not granted these same rights. Additionally, incarcerated firefighters must rely on prison physicians and are not granted health benefits upon release. The final concern that incarcerated firefighters must consider when choosing to enter fire camps has to do with job and opportunities upon their release. This topic will be fully examined in the next section, but in short, incarcerated firefighters experience limited job opportunities upon release due to their conviction records. Despite the fact that incarcerated firefighters receive the same training from CAL FIRE as unionized firefighters do, their convicted status bars them from receiving EMT training that would allow them to become professional firefighters in the civilian world. While there are various incentives and drawbacks to becoming an incarcerated firefighter, it's important to remember that each incarcerated firefighter has different motives for choosing to participate in California's fire camps. Phil Goodman said it best with the following quote from his article entitled, "Another Second Chance, Rethinking Rehabilitation Through the Lens of California's Prison Fire Camps." He says, "Binaries in which prison labor is positioned as either entirely good or entirely exploitative do not mesh well with the multifaceted experiences of those on the ground, who find elements of both at play." Despite the fact that inmate fire crews make up 50 to 80% of personnel that respond to wildfires, the pathway to professional employment is neither clear or easy. The following quote from the Los Angeles Times editorial board illustrates the conundrum that incarcerated firefighters face upon their release. The quote reads, "State law directs local emergency service agencies to deny EMT certifications to any applicant who has been convicted of 2 or more felonies, is on parole or probation, or has committed any kind of felony within the past 10 years. So, the conviction that got someone into prison and onto an inmate fire crew becomes a disqualification for getting a good, full-time job fighting fires outside of prison." Even though incarcerated firefighters possess the same training and skills that free firefighters hold, their criminal records often bar them from becoming professional, unionized firefighters upon their release. In an attempt to mitigate the criminal record issue, California has introduced Assembly Bill 22-14-7, which allows former inmates to expunge their criminal records and pursue EMT certifications that would allow them to become professional firefighters. However, it is up to individual judges to clear these records. Instead of being valued for the skills and state training that they received in fire camps, formerly incarcerated firefighters are often treated as convicts. While the pathway to certified firefighting is limited, the organization entitled the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program provides support, training, and paid work opportunities to formerly incarcerated firefighters before and after their release. This organization was co-founded by 2 formerly incarcerated firefighters who wanted former inmates to have the opportunity to utilize their skills and training outside of fire camps. While members of the FFRP are not able to provide emergency response, they do help prevent forest fires by performing grade work that creates fire breaks and reduces forest debris that fuels potential fires. This work provides formerly incarcerated firefighters with an opportunity to apply and hone their skills, receive income, and show the community and legal system that they are valuable members of California's wildfire management team. Wildfires in California have drastically increased as climate change, severe drought, and depleted soil exacerbate the dry conditions and fuel sources that lead to uncontrollable fires. While incarcerated firefighters are not at the forefront of wildfire media coverage, They have proven themselves to be essential respondents to California's increased forest fire problem. Incarcerated firefighters are incentivized to join fire camp programs where they enjoy freedom of movement, better food, higher quality facilities, reduced sentencing, and fenced rather than walled perimeters. While these perks are enticing, inmates must decide if the health risks, meager pay, and laborious work are worth the perks. Even though incarcerated firefighters participate in fire camps voluntarily, it is important to acknowledge and understand the systems that exacerbate wildfire and create a reliance on underpaid prison labor. If you are interested in learning more about California's use of incarcerated firefighters, you can refer to the links in the description below this video. Thank you.